Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Well, what could you say? 2024 was a huge year for the UFO topic. Unbelievably huge. I mean, there was so many different stories all throughout the year. It was very exciting. And as far as I'm concerned, it was the biggest year we ever had and probably the biggest year we ever will have because we have absolute proof now. That's what emerged from 2024. Absolute proof of an alien presence on Earth. Although, sadly, there was a lot of people within the UFO community who still are failing to realize this or even comment on it, a lot of them, which is very surprising to me. I don't understand why. I just can't figure it out for the life of me. But I guess it's just going to take time. It's going to take time. Maybe some of the biggest names in the UFO community, maybe they themselves are suffering with some sort of ontological shock. Of course, what we're talking about here is the Las Vegas alien incident, which I'm sure you ascertained that via the thumbnail that I used for this episode. But there were so many stories to talk about, and that, as far as I'm concerned, we'll get into that one later, and the reasons why that is the biggest one of this year, and actually it's the biggest one of all time to this point. I don't know if anything's going to surpass it at this moment. To this point in time, there is absolutely no question about it. The Las Vegas alien incident, although it did happen in 2023, but it wasn't until 2024, until April of 2024, when it was finally revealed that this case actually provides absolute evidence, absolute proof to show that shows that there's a non-human intelligence among us. They're here. Right now, and the here and the now. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff we could talk about, other stories that happened this year. For instance, the Peru mummies. They call them mummies. They're not really mummies. They're just bodies that were preserved for over 1,000 years that were discovered in Peru. The jury's still out on that, apparently. There's still two different sides looking into this. One side says that these were hoaxes, that these were dummies that were put together by hoaxers, while the other side says the DNA in some of these creatures doesn't match anything on Earth. Again, there's still investigations into this. I guess we'll find out more in 2025 when it comes to these Peru bodies that were found, that were discovered, that continue to be discovered. There's actually more that were just discovered recently. So that story is still ongoing. There was the Arrow Historical Records report that was released this year, which was absolute junk, as we talked about it. I had the former director of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office's fingerprints, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, all over it. It didn't really explain away anything like they tried to do. They basically presented a bogus document to the public, and that's what it was. It's bogus. It was absolutely bogus. And Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, as we learned, he resigned from Arrow in December of 2023, and then he went on a disinformation tour early this year, throughout the year of 2024, and that turned out badly for him because it was discovered that he's a liar. The guy is a giant liar. He got himself caught in a big lie when he stated that he never knew Brandon Fugel, who's the owner of Skinwalker Ranch, never met with him. And then we find out that he did meet with him. We had evidence to back that up. I've talked about this in numerous podcasts throughout the year. There was so many different things. Basically, Kirkpatrick impeached himself. So everything, as far as anyone should be concerned, that Kirkpatrick says with relation to UFOs, right? You can't trust it because the guy can't be trusted. He's a liar, and he got caught lying, and it's over for him. I mean, to me, he's an absolute joke. Now we have a new guy in charge. We'll see how that's going to go as time goes on. To me, it doesn't look too good at this point. I still think Arrow is a waste of time. However, there's been other big stories too. Lou Elizondo, finally, his book was held up for a long time because I had to go through a government review to make sure there was no classified information in that book. But finally it got published. Imminent. Excellent book. I'm sure I'll be talking about this throughout this year, the upcoming year, 2025. It should be. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't ever even got a chance to go over in that with regard to that book. And of course, Elizondo also just past November. The former director of ATIP, Elizondo, appeared in a hearing, testified under oath, along with other people, including Dr. Tim Gallaudet, a retired rear admiral in the United States Navy, talking about that there is a cover-up, that the government does know about, that there is a presence here, that's a non-human intelligent presence on this planet, crash retrieval, reverse engineering programs, the whole 9 yards, and that if there's a cover-up and we're not being told the truth. And And they testified to this under oath, similarly to how David Grush did this, the former Air Force official who testified in 2023 under oath to a House committee, talked about not only is there reverse engineering and crash retrieval programs, but also the alien biologics were recovered. So that was a big story. So many big stories. Just in the last few months, all of the drone incursions all over the world, over areas, over military installations in the United Kingdom, over military installations in the United States, over Washington, D.C., all over the place. There were drone incursions everywhere. The government hasn't really provided to this point any answers, as far as I'm concerned, as far as anybody should be concerned, that are satisfactory. They basically are trying to say that people are just panicking and they're just it's nothing. It's just stuff that's always there. That's what they're trying to say. But they leave out the fact that not only are there drones being seen, large drones, drones that usually hobbyists don't have access to. Not only are there large drones in the sky that people have been seeing, but there are orbs everywhere. There are orb sightings everywhere across the world right now, everywhere. Another big story. So it just doesn't end. There's just so many big things that happened this year. So many. And the excitement's going to continue into the next year, I'm sure. Of course, one of the unfortunate things that happened this year was there was a reintroduction in Congress. The senators like Chuck Schumer wanted to try the UAP Disclosure Act and have that included in the National Defense Authorization Act for 2025. That fell through again, just like it did in 2023. Well, in 2023 it got gutted, and now this year it's not part of the National Defense Authorization Act. That was unfortunate, but it's something. The fact that people are still talking about this in Washington is a big deal. So there's still conversations about this. There are a lot of people, a lot of senators, a lot of representatives in the House who continue to talk about this. It's UFOs is something that's not going away anytime soon. In fact, the conversation seems to be getting bigger and bigger all the time as we go forward, and I expect it to even pick up more in 2025. So many big stories. Now, there was a listing here on a website. I just want to go through a few of them here. This was on a site called unexplainedmysteries.com, and they had their top 10 stories from the last 12 months. And I just want to go through some of them here. They said, one of them here, scientists claim to have solved World War II Foo Fighter UFOs mystery. I did talk about this earlier this year in one of my shows, and that involved some scientists trying to say that what people were seeing in World War II, the Foo Fighters, were actually plasma. They think it was plasma. Nobody could really prove that. But that was a story that people were talking about at one point during this year, and something else. Again, it just didn't stop. We were constantly getting bombarded every week with something different all the time. It was a great year. If you're interested in UFOs and the alien presence on this planet, you couldn't go wrong with 2024. It was the biggest year we've ever had, I think. It's going to go down in history, definitely, I think, as the biggest year to date. And it ended with a bang. I mean, and it's still going on. We're going to be moving into 2025 in the middle of this drone and orb issue. Another one they had here was the Pentagon allegedly has a video of a UFO disabling a nuclear missile. Now, this is old news. This was with Bob Jacobs, the former Air Force official who he's been talking about this for decades, so I don't know how that was a big story. But they have it listed here. Then there was the mysterious jellyfish UFO that was filmed floating over a United States military base. That was something that Jeremy Corbell had got his hands on. It was a very strange object that we saw. We don't know if there's something to that or not. We don't have a lot of information other than the video, but it was very strange. Here was another one, MUFON unveils unidentifiable alien material at annual symposium. That was another thing where they had a piece of metal that it was metal that was not known anywhere on Earth. That was a pretty decent story to talk about. There was so much stuff. Oh, here was a good one. Workers spot large dark metallic disc over Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado. That was something we talked about on here. It was a bunch of different witnesses had seen this giant UFO hovering over this Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado. That was very interesting. So many big sightings this year. A lot of different videos. All videos are all over the place, more so than probably ever. I mean, they're all over right now. They're all over X. They're all over Reddit. They're all over YouTube. I mean, they're in Instagram. Everywhere you look on the internet, there's all kinds of new UFO videos popping up. Some things that that were out for a while that we're just learning about now, like in the previous show where I talked about that tree in South Carolina. Somehow something was shaking that tree, but you can't see what it is. It was invisible. I mean, there's another story that people have been talking about just late in the year. Yeah, there was just so much to talk about this year. So many big stories. You don't even know where to begin. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as anyone should be concerned, however, I think that the biggest story another one is the Peru aliens. I mean, we'll have to figure that one out as time goes on. I think we'll find more maybe in 2025. Again, there's two sides to that story. I just don't know. At this point, I mean, I was pretty convinced of it. I know a lot of people in the UFO community, people like Jack Connor on Cosmic Road. I mean, he believes that it's disclosure. I had him on the show this year talking about that case. I just don't know though yet. I mean, I think the jury's still out on that one. We're going to have to wait. But the biggest story as far as anyone should be concerned, has been the Vegas alien case. It was the revelation that was presented right here on this channel when Scott Roeder came on, and he talked about his findings. Him and his associates did a analysis of that video. What happened was, that video was out for a while. There were some things that we were noticing in that video, but we really couldn't prove anything. But then somebody alerted me to the fact that there was a head that appears above that fence. Now, have been other YouTubers that had pointed this out before. I missed some of this stuff before that, and there was a person from New York, Julia June, who contacted me this past March, told me about that you need to check out this when they're getting chased out of the yard. There's some sort of a being's his face appears above the fence, and I did a video on that. Scott Roeder did an analysis of it, and he was able to prove that there was actually something in the yard, and not only that the video wasn't tampered with. There was no CGI used. And so it was a real video. So before I go any further with this, before I show you, I have some new things to show you with this. But before I do, I just recently I did this little pretend video. It was like as if the Vegas alien case was a product called Absolute Proof. Now, I didn't show that on Spotify because of the musical soundtrack that I used for it. I was able to use it on YouTube, but had I put that on Spotify, I would have got flagged and for copyright and all that kind of thing. So I didn't use it on there. But I do have a new version of this. It's the same video, but without the musical accompaniment. And it's as if this was a product. But this product here, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. There's no paying for this product. This is absolutely free. It's called Absolute Proof, and I ran this video on YouTube just recently in last month, I believe. And for my people on Spotify that haven't seen it, I'm going to play it right now. It's about 4 minutes long and explains basically encapsulates the entire Las Vegas alien incident in a short 4 minutes and explains exactly what happened in this case. So just check this out quick. Tired of UFO debunkers laughing at you and insisting you have no proof of the alien presence on Earth? Are you sick of testifying under oath about the reality that we're not alone in the universe, that a faction within the United States government is hiding this truth from the public while operating a covert program to reverse engineer retrieved extraterrestrial crafts that crashed, but you have no evidence other than words to back up your assertions? Are you tired of government officials lying to you about UFOs and aliens? Well, have we got the solution for you. Introducing new, absolute proof of the non-human intelligence on Earth. Stop gaslighting, obfuscation, and idiocy in their tracks with Absolute Proof. Brought to you by the Las Vegas alien incident of 2023, Absolute Proof is the game changer you've been waiting for. Just before midnight on April 30th, 2023, an object that looks similar to a meteor was seen falling from the sky from 4 states. It was captured on police body cameras, car cameras, and private home surveillance cameras before it made a hard landing in the Las Vegas backyard of a family of 4. Teenage brothers Angel and Joshua were working on their father's truck at the time and watched in amazement as the blue and green lighted object slammed onto the ground, throwing up red sparks. The object became instantly invisible upon impact, and the boys then heard thousands of footsteps running off in various directions. Next thing Angel knew, he was face to face with 2 8 to 10 foot tall alien beings, one of which was able to momentarily paralyze the youth just by staring him in the eyes. Eventually, the 2 brothers escaped the yard and informed Mother Contra and Father Bobby of the high strangeness. The 2 brothers and father, armed with handguns, then attempted to enter the backyard to scare the intruders away or shoot them dead if necessary, while the mother filmed the action with her cell phone camera. Seconds upon entering the yard via a metal gate, one of the creatures emerged from the darkness and scared them back out. Soon after this engagement with apparent beings from another world, Angel called 911 to report 2 tall alien creatures in his backyard.
9 feet, 10 foot, I don't know, they look like aliens to us. Big eyes, they have big eyes, like I can't explain it, and big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
By the time police arrived, the creatures and craft were gone, and all that was left was a shocked and terrified family. A subsequent analysis of the video by world-renowned crime scene reconstruction expert Scott Roeder and his team determined that the 1 minute and 41 second long cell phone footage was authentic and untampered with. Furthermore, Roeder and his team determined that there were tall alien creatures captured in the video and that they were using some type of cloaking technology to hide themselves from detection. Unfortunately for the aliens, but fortunately for us, that technology wasn't apparently up to par that night because we can see the faces of these weird critters appearing and disappearing throughout. This one here matches exactly an insectoid creature that abducted 4 young men in Maine's Allagash Wilderness in 1976. Further analysis of the video revealed that, in addition to the tall creatures, there were short aliens present as well, including this little guy, who has come to be known as the Undeniable Backbreaker, or UB for short, because his existence cannot be denied or debunked. UB, as you can plainly see, meets the common description of the short alien gray. So, next time you're confronted by idiotic debunkers, make sure you're equipped with absolute proof and watch them scurry away from it faster than Count Dracula running away from a crucifix. And when you're asked to testify about the extraterrestrial reality in a congressional hearing, feel confident that you have absolute proof in your back pocket to finally move the discussion over the hump and shake the world off its foundations. Absolute proof, the brand where you can't go wrong. And it's guaranteed. Right, Scott?
I guarantee it.
So there you go with that. And, now, of course, that was done with tongue in cheek, but it was in a way, at the same time, everything that's talked about in there, the laying it all out, that's exactly what this story is. That's what it is. I mean, there's no explanation for it other than it has to be some sort of a non-human intelligence that crashed or made a hard landing in someone's backyard. Aliens exited the craft, and they're all throughout the video. Throughout the 1 minute and 41 second long video, and throughout that video there's things that are materializing and dematerializing throughout the entire thing. And some of the best ones, of course, the face above the fence is most certainly one of the best some of the best evidence I've ever seen. And of course, as Scott Roeder talked about, when we actually did a show on April 2nd this year when he first presented his findings, we called it Vindication Day. I will leave a link to that show so you can check it out for yourself. Because we call it Vindication Day, because there's no going back now. This as far as we were concerned at that moment in time, right, the evidence and the analysis that he conducted shows that there's no question that there were beings in that yard. And obviously, when you look at them, they're not human, right? They meet the description of alien creatures as people have described over the years, including the family members that saw it that day. The Kenmores, and of course that's a pseudonym for their real name, which I don't usually say it on my channel, because they want their privacy. They don't want to be bothered with this anymore. But after that, after April 2nd, we continued to look at that. And we found, I found a lot of other stuff in there. Scott and I were looking at this. We kept on finding more evidence of aliens in there throughout the entire thing. And some of the best ones, I think one of the best ones that we found was this, what I call the Undeniable Backbreaker, or UB. And I just want to play this. Now, before I go on, before I even play this, I want to say this. You know, just recently, Scott and I appeared on an episode of Surviving the Survivor. It's a very popular YouTube channel, and I'll leave the link for that in case you haven't seen that yet. It was just yesterday, I believe, or the day before, when it was. We did the interview, I guess, a week or so ago, and now the show just came on yesterday or the day before. And you know, even in the comments there, and sometimes I'll get comments like this: people look at the video and they don't see anything. Well, today I'm going to try to help more people out. I've done some things here. I'm going to try to help people out so they could see what a lot of other people are seeing in this video. But I just want to play this the section where UB is seen, a close-up of it. I've played this before. We're just going to go through it. And as you can see, I have it in slow motion here. But right here, you can see an eye there, an eye there. It's all warped right now. It's all distorted for some reason, like something's in the way. But then all of a sudden, you can see it. Let me just pause it right there. You can see it. You can see an eye here, an eye here. This is its head, right here. You can see it right around. Let me just play it. You can watch it. It's going to turn its head here. There, turn its head. And then it becomes distorted again, as if it knows it's being filmed and it's trying to get out of the frame. And when it gets right before it gets distorted, it's like it throws its head back, and you can still see its eyes, and now you can see what looks like a mouth right here, and then it just disappears. Let me just play that one more time for people so they could see. And then I'm going to show you some still images that I've taken from this. Here it is. Like, you can see a warped version of it. There's but you can make it out, and then suddenly. You're going to be able to see it. There it is. There it is. And there it turns its head. And then it becomes distorted again right there. And then it disappears. Okay, now I took a still image from right when it turns its head. This is a still image of the creature right when it turns its head. Okay, here's an eye there. An eye there. This is its head right here. And I'm not even going to get into this, but there's apparently other beings around it as well. I'm not going to try to confuse people. I just want to focus on UB right here. Okay, you can see it now. Here's I drew an outline around it so you could see it better. Now there it is. You see it? Now this is what I'm seeing. This is what other people are seeing. This is what some people are having trouble seeing, and I'm hoping that this will help people out. And that it's not over yet, though. I have another picture, another enhancement as well. As you can see, there's an eye there, an eye there. This is it. I drew a line around where I see it. Let's go back to the original. You seeing it better now? Look, go back before. There it is. Now you can see it better. There. See, this is what a lot of us are seeing, but some people are having trouble seeing it. And then I actually colored in the entire thing. Now watch this. There. See? There you go. Now this is what I was using in the thumbnail, so you already probably saw this. So let's go from one. There's the original. There's an outline and eyes colored in and an outline drawn around the figure. And then finally I colored in the entire figure. There you could see it. That's what's there, folks. That is a gray alien, a short gray alien. It meets the description. It's actually moving. Look at it. There you go. Let's go do it again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This could be. You could do an exercise. Maybe you should do I should start an exercise program. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now let's go back and watch that video again. Here you go. Here's the video. Maybe you'll see it better now. Maybe for the people who have been having trouble with this, maybe this will help you. I do not know. I hope so. There it is. There it is. And that's when it turns its head right there. See, when it turns its head, that's when I paused it right there and I took a still image, and there it is. That's a still image I took. And then you go 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let me show you something else I did here. Let's go through it again. And right when it becomes distorted at the end, I've done something else, and we'll check that out next. Okay, again, there's whatever powers they have, whatever abilities, they were able to hide themselves somehow. There it turns its head, and now it's like it notices it's being filmed, and then whoop, it flings its head back. Now I pause it there. Now maybe people are having trouble seeing this. So here I took there's a still image of that same where head gets tossed back, and then I drew it there. There you see, I filled the eyes in with black, and I put an outline around the head, and I put also filled in the mouth now, which you could see. You couldn't see a mouth in the previous image, but now you could see it. Let me go back and forth with it. There you see it, and then you see the mouth and the eyes. You can see it clearly, and then I also colored the whole thing in. Are you seeing it now? Is this helping you? Is this helping? I hope it helps people, because this evidence proves it. I mean, the video, as Scott Roeder, he's an expert with over 30 years of experience in video analysis, crime scene reconstructions, all that kind of stuff. And he determined that the video, him and his team determined that the video was not tampered with. And there are creatures like this appearing throughout the entire video, the entire 1 minute and 41 second video. Okay, and now here was the picture of the fence alien. Now, I like this picture. For some reason, it turned out really well, and I had a big circle around it. I use this a lot, and to try to show people where it is. But I also did something similar with this. Now, I drew an outline around it, filled in its eyes so you could see it, and then here was the final result. That's the face that is appearing above the fence. That's what is there. It's a semi-transparent face. You could see through it. You can see some of the branches, actually, if you look really closely. And then I filled in the eyes there and had an outline around it, and then I colored it in, finally. So there was another example. Now, then there was another alien that's seen later on that's standing near a front loader. This is the picture here on the right, and to the left here is a drawing, and I've talked about this before in numerous shows, that was drawn by one of the Allagash Four. The Allagash Four were four young guys who went on this big adventure in Maine's Allagash Wilderness back in 1976, as I stated in that little video, presentation that I just showed before, and they saw a UFO. And then over 10 years went by. Some of them start having nightmares about it, and then they discovered that they had missing time that night. They all went under hypnosis, and one of the people drew one of the Allagash Four drew this. This is what he remembered under hypnosis. This is what it looked like. And when you put it side by side with this image, this is an actual image beside it here of one of the creatures standing by the heavy equipment. It looks just exactly the same, like the same thing. Now, some people are having trouble seeing this, so I colored it in a little bit. First, I did the outlines like the other ones. See, I drew an outline around the head, colored in the eyes so you could see. You could see it's part of its body, actually. And then I filled the entire thing in. That's what's there, folks. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I hope you're having an easier time seeing it now for people who are having trouble, because it's real and there's no denying it. And this is only a small sampling. This is happening throughout the video. There was so many different videos, so many different podcasts that I've done throughout the year discussing this and presenting new finds through all the time. Now you have to ask yourself questions like, the family members called 911 saying there were aliens in their backyard, and the video only lasts, that they filmed when this was happening, only lasts for 1 minute and 41 seconds, right? And there are at least 20 different instances where creatures are appearing throughout this video. 20 different instances. It's undeniable, and the video it's been determined by a video expert that it was not tampered with. So this shows that we're not alone. And here's the other thing too. Keep this in mind. I sent a letter on June 11th to the Pentagon. I detailed the entire incident. I provided various links. I included lots of images. In fact, I'll include a link to that letter that I sent to the Pentagon, and you can read it for yourself. I described the entire incident. Scott Roeder himself has since put together his own analysis report on this. And also, there's a lot of information that's been compiled by another gentleman who's a friend of the channel, Chris Lathrop. And some of that information that he presented is included with Scott Roeder's report, and plus the letter to the Pentagon. I sent a letter to the Pentagon on June 11th. The Pentagon never responded. To the Pentagon, I also sent a courtesy copy to the Department of Energy. No one has ever responded, and I don't think that they ever will. Mick West, the debunker, he was offered $5,000 from Scott Roeder just recently, in recent months, to do an analysis, and he refused. You know why he refused? Because he cannot debunk this. This proves we are not alone. This proves we are not alone. And another thing I will leave in the description, in addition to the other links that I talked about, is I will leave a link to the actual video, and you could take that video that it's in a portrait format, the original video that was filmed. It's in portrait format. You could take that video if you have a video editing program, look at it yourself, examine it for yourself. It's the original video, and you'll see these things in this video. And the only explanation is that there were non-human intelligent entities in that backyard. And this proves it. We have the absolute proof. There's no going back now. And there's nothing anyone out there can do to change that. And I don't care. You know, I know there's some people out there, some people in the UFO community, including people I have a lot of respect for. Jeremy Corbell, you know, he has a great show, Weaponized. Him and George Knapp make a great team. Corbell has made some great documentaries. You know, he criticized this earlier this year, stating that the creature above the fence here was was a shadow. That was it. Mick West tried to say it was raccoons and coyotes. Now, as you plainly see, this is not a raccoon. It's not a coyote. All right, they don't look like that. This looks like something we've never seen before with our own eyes, except in drawings and movies. But this isn't a movie, and these aren't drawings, except for right here, to the one on the left there. These are real creatures that are appearing in that video, and you could check them out for yourself. Because you know, that's my advice to anyone out there. The best way to get to the bottom of this is to examine the video yourself if you have your own video editing program, and you will see with your own eyes that there were creatures in that backyard, and there's no denying it, and there's no going back. The Pentagon won't respond. They won't comment on this. A lot of people in the UFO community won't respond about this. You could reasons why, I don't know. You could come up with your own. I don't know. I've put out a lot of different possibilities. Who knows? That it's only they know why they're not talking about this. It could be that that they themselves are having some sort of ontological shock and they just can't accept it. That could be that. It might seem too fantastic to them. Who knows? Or maybe they're jealous. Maybe they're upset that they weren't the ones who'd made these discoveries and are putting this information forward. I do not know. I don't have the answers for that. However, I do know this. There's no story bigger. Absolutely no story bigger than the Las Vegas alien incident. Ever. Bigger than all of them. Because this one here proves it. None of the other ones really prove it. All we have, not that I don't believe a lot of them, for instance, the Ariel School incident, right? I believe that the Ariel School incident most certainly happened. There's no doubt in my mind. You had over 60 little kids talking about it who all said they saw it. Some of them were receiving telepathic messages from one of the aliens. There's no question about it, right? But the only problem is all we have is our word. That was, for whatever reason, that's never enough. This is enough. This is enough. This is why Mick West won't touch it, right? This is why the government won't even respond to the letter that I sent them in June. Almost 7 months now. So that's why. It's going to be over 7 months. What am I talking about? And they'll never respond. Because what are they going to say? There's no way you could there's absolutely no way you could debunk this. There's absolutely again, like I was talking in the previous show, because it comes down to an intelligence test. If you can't see this, we've been laying it out here in various shows over the past year since April 2nd. We've been talking about it since April 2nd when it had that Vindication Day episode. I was so happy that day. I was thinking, wow, this is finally brings it to a conclusion, because now this shows without a doubt that we're not alone. And as the year went on, we even have more evidence now, including the discovery of that creature, the little one, UB, the undeniable backbreaker. This is undeniable, folks. This is a little gray alien. That's what you're looking at there. That's what it is. You know, there's no question about it. So there's no excuse anymore. It's an intelligence test. That's what it is. At this point, it's an intelligence test. I'm going to continue discussing this throughout 2025. I'll make new presentations on this. This is something that actually, by the way, apparently Scott Roeder is he's poised to be in an upcoming episode of Ancient Aliens where they're going to talk about this. And I just think as more and more people learn about this story and they see this evidence, they're going to realize it comes down to this. It's an intelligence test. If you can't see what's happening here, if you can't accept, I mean, I don't know if this went to a court of law, right? And this would prove it in a court of law. You'd be able to prove the existence of aliens in a court of law with this evidence. That's how good it is, and there's just no getting around it. There's no question. There were non-human intelligent creatures in that backyard in 2023, and we were able to prove that absolutely this year with Scott Roeder's analysis. Anyway, yeah, I just want to say this. I want to point out. I want to say thank you to all the people who have been commenting throughout the year, and I hope you stay with me for the following year, for 2025. I really appreciate all the people. I appreciate all the people who support the channel. I want to say thank you very much. There's a lot of people here and there that contribute to my Patreon or on Spotify. There were a lot of different people that contributed, and sometimes people give me one of those provide a super thanks on some of the episodes, and I want to say thank you very much for all of that. And I think we're moving in the right direction, and we have the evidence. We have them on the run. At some point, the government's going to have to come clean, because now that evidence is out there. It's floating out there within the public domain. It's been loosed upon the world, and there's no going back at this point. So I just want to say this. Thank you all for supporting my channel, for giving me likes all the time and commenting on them. I really appreciate it. It's been great. I love doing this. I love talking about this stuff, and I believe 2025 is going to be another great year in UFO history, just like this 2024 was. 2024, I think, is the biggest year, the best year to this point. I don't know if we're ever going to get the full truth from the government, but I don't know if we need it now. I mean, we could just, we're on the road to catastrophic disclosure, folks, because we're already there. I mean, the evidence is already out there flowing. It's just a matter of time, right, till the world catches on. It's there for the taking. It's there for the understanding. If anybody wants to know for a fact, right, whether there's something here or not, all I got to do is study this Las Vegas case, and they will know. So it's already out there. So I want to say this. Thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.